Welcome to the video lecture of Big Data Analytics. Myself Banu Prakash, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Vignan Institute of Information Technology, Visakhapatnam. So today in this lecture, we'll try to learn about writable classes. Before I start the topic, I'd like to recollect all the information what we have gone through in the yesterday's session. We have seen writable interface, the main advantage of using writable in Hadoop, and what are all the basic concepts that we need to implement writables. So we have seen serialization, we have seen wrapper classes, and we have seen what are all the different types of writable wrappers that are available for Java primitive data types. So as we all know that we are going to implement everything in terms of objects in this. So we are going to get each and every individual data type with respect to the objects available. So we are treating them as writable classes. So in this lecture content today, we will be learning about what are all the different wrapper classes that are available for each and every individual Java primitive data type, as well as we are going to see about byte writables, null writables, object writables, generic writables, and what are all the different kind of writable classes that are available. So that will be our lecture content today, and the main objective is we need to understand these core concepts in detail so that we can implement them in Hadoop programming. So today's lecture will be completely covering all the kinds of different writable classes that are available. So first of all, let's understand what exactly a writable class is. So I have given a small definition over here which states that it's a large selection of writable classes are available from the package that is available with org apache.hadoop.io package. So you can find out all the kind of writable classes in this specific package by just importing it when you are writing the code. Now what is a major advantage of a writable class? That is what we need to learn before we start implementing it. We should understand what exactly a writable class is and how it is getting emerged with the different kind of data types that are available in Java. So we will try to see what are all the different kind of writable classes available with respect to the primitive data types of Java programming. So you can see that I am going to showcase a hierarchical figure where you can see different kind of writable classes that are available under a specific category, or like number category or character category, like that. So let's see this diagram so that you can understand very easily. So let's see this diagram where we can understand the actual topic very clearly. See, I have something called as writable interface. In the earlier lectures, we have seen there is something called as a writable interface, a writable comparable, and we have seen comparator also. So these writable interfaces are implemented with two individual functions. One is to read the data, one is to write the data. As I have told you many times, information need to be transmitted over the network from one machine to the other machine. So when the information is being transmitted, that will be converted into byte form. So no information will be available in terms of data types. It will be available in terms of byte form only. Nothing is available in terms of numbers or text messages. So we need to implement such kind of interface where we are going to transform all the primitive data types that are available in Java into respect to writable wrappers. So you can see some example wrappers that are available over here. So for every individual Java primitive data type, we have different kind of writables available with. So yesterday we have seen a list of primitive data types. So we can see this, we have something called as a boolean type, byte, int, vint, float, long, vlong, and double. So these are all related to number category. So whatever writables that I have shown you right now here, these are all related to number category. So from now you are not going to deal with any kind of numbers or any kind of strings. We are only dealing with objects. So everything need to be converted into objects before we perform any kind of operations. So we'll just see what are all the wrappers that are available with respect to the Java primitive data types and their sizes. When you define that, what would be the size? Let's see all these things. So in this example, I have some set of writable wrappers available. So in this example, you can see primitive data types that are available in Java, and you can find the respective writable wrapper in Hadoop. So you can see that, it has been defined with a naming convention like this, but there is a different naming convention for Boolean writable, like how we have some set of writables available over here, and I have specified clearly the different sizes that it occupies when it is being converted from the primitive type to the object, that means into writable wrapper. So we will see each and every type of writable that is available in the specific topic. So first of all, I'd like to teach about text writable. So now you people are aware of information that is being transmitted in the form of text, so you need to take it as a string value. Now the point is, we are converting that information into byte form. So how a normal text will be converted to a specific byte form. Here in this we can see, for example, if I say A, I need to find out a respective byte form of a data where I am replacing this byte form with the letter. If I say B, I need to identify a specific byte form where I can transmit that byte form instead of transmitting the B. So the point is, we need to identify a specific type of a format for every individual information in the form of text which we are transmitting with respect to the form. So here I am using something called as UTF-8 sequences. About UTF I am going to discuss in detail in the coming slides, but as of now you remember that this is a kind of Unicode transformation format where you are converting your text information into this specific format while transmitting the data over the network. So there are few kind of features that are available with text formatting, out of which we have something called as indexing, Unicode, iteration, mutability, and something like restoring the string, right. See, there is a term called as mutability. Don't get confused. The word itself says that you can change the string value. Whenever you are passing something, you can change the string value later. If I say it is non-mutable, that means you cannot change the value, but here I can change the value whatever I am sending. Like how we have different features available, I will be discussing one or two features of the list so that you can understand what exactly a text writable and its operations perform. So one of the features is indexing. So how this indexing will be performed with the text writable that is being implemented. Let's see here, I have been using something called as a caret function, caret. So let me make you understand in a better way. For example, I have something called as a word naming Bhanu. So you can see it and tell that there are total number of 5 characters available very easily. So this function will specifically pull out the operations on a string or a word that is being performed. That means I can identify everything like a character at location 2, because if you store this in array structure, if I divide these values into array cells, so obviously my A will be falling at 2 because 0 is for B, 1 is for H, A is for 2, N is for 3, and U is for 4. We treat them as index values because we have seen all these things in the earlier sessions, like when you are implementing something called as collections, list collections, we have seen in the array list where each and everything will be stored in terms of a sequence memory locations in array. So here you will find this A at location 2. So you can simply ask the program saying like this, see, if I want to get that value, I can pull it out like character at a specific location is A or not. You can justify it through the programming to find out whether it is a correct value or not. So here in this example, you all can see I have taken a text which is my new one. So I have taken a text which is my own word, that is Hadoop, the subject name. So here you can see this a total number of letters that exist with Hadoop. So I am storing it in array. So as I have to store 6 letters, so I am storing it. So I have totally number of 6 locations available, indexing from 0 to 5. So this is my information available. So I am just verifying it through the code. Just I am checking that the total length of this word is 6 or not. Yes, that's true, because you can easily see that because I have accommodated each and every letter into a specific cell of an array. So total number of cells that occupied are 6. So this is correct. That means when you are making the comparison, you can get the answer which is 6. Now let's see the next one. I am getting the total byte length, that is 6. How? See, for every individual text character, you are going to create a byte. Just remember that you are going to create an individual byte for individual text character that is available. So here you are going to create a byte for a text available. So I have total number of 6 characters available. So you are going to create 6 bytes for the individual text that is available in the array. As you can see, the alternate definition for the same information as you have seen earlier, I have explained it to you all that if I accommodate, assume that I have written a small word called hello. I have been using this into storage. So I have specific indexes for each and every letter that is stored in the array. Now let's see. With the example Hadoop, as I have shown you earlier, we have total number of 6 cells occupied. I am just checking with a caret function, that is what I told. I am checking whether at index 2 letter D is available or not. With this you can see it is at index 0, 1, 2. So at index 2 you have D. So I am just passing it as an argument. If my statement is correct, then it works fine. And I have to find an exact match of a byte for the respective letter available over here. So now coming to the word Unicode, as I have told you earlier that there is something called as a UTF-8 sequence. As I have told you earlier, that is a sequence is available which is UTF-8 sequence. You are going to convert all the characters into byte form. So let's understand how it has been created and what are all the different forms of coding conventions that are available while writing the Java program. So you all can see this table where I have differentiated different things over here. A specific example in the table you can find out there are different characters available. For example, I have taken a capital letter A, small letter S, an unknown handiograph and a desert capital letter R. So there are few different types of characters and there is equivalent Unicode available for that. For example, if you are going to write A, you can also define a Unicode value in your program instead of writing a character A. So this is for your program, but as I told you, you are not going to use any kind of characters in the program. You are going to take any kind of Unicode formats or byte formats while writing the programs, which is equivalent to your letter. So as you can see this, there are 3 different conventions available over here. I will explain it very clearly. If I have a capital letter A, the Unicode value would be U plus 0041 and the same kind of UTF format is a 41 and a Java representation would be the same what I have explained over there. So let's see it in a easiest way. So let us assume that I am writing a statement in Java. So I am writing like this. If I declare a string yes, which is equal to, now I am going to store a value inside this. Now let's see how you are going to store. You can see Java representation at the bottom of the table. As we can see, for every individual letter I have mentioned a equivalent Java definition. So in my statement normally I would like to write like this as, which is a normal word where A stands with capital and S stands with a small lettering. So I have equivalent Java representation over there. So you all can see this, right? So I am straight away writing it, which is U0041, and for S, which is the next character, you can straight away write it U00DF. When you are writing Java programming, when you are writing a code in Java programming, you have to use the exact Java representation that is available for the specific character. If you are straight away using the Unicode, you can go with these Unicodes. But while writing the program, you have to use exact Java representation for the specific character available. So that's what I have explained. If I am trying to put something, you can go with the exact Unicode that is available. Before I proceed to the next topic, I would like to explain a small component that is available over here. You can see that there is a desert capital R which has been defined with 2 bytes. You can see 2 byte forms here. You can see that difference where each and every other things are representing with a single byte, but here you are using 2 things. We call these 2 as surrogate pair. You can take a note of it. You can take a note of it. You can call it as a surrogate pair because for specific kind of special characters that are available, you are going to create something called as a surrogate pair in combination of more than 1 byte. So let's see what exactly a word mutability means. As I told you, if you define something already and if you want to change it during the program, the defined values will be replaced with a new value. You can do that with the help of something facility called as mutability. This is one of the features of your existing text writables. So as I told you, you have a keyword called as a set. With the help of set keyword, you can set a new value to the existing string. So you can see this a small snippet of code that is available here. See, I have taken a small text here. The name is Hadoop. So you can easily find out that this value has been sent to T. Then here we can also check how to change the value. See, I have been keep on telling you that this value has been stored in array. So if I store the same value again into array, like this, if I have stored the same value into the array, now let's see, I have set the same character to pig. That means whatever you have created earlier will be replaced with a new word that is pig. So there is no more Hadoop that is available with you. You are going to replace the same string with a new word that is pig. Now if you want to find out the value of array, then you need to get what is the length of it, or you can easily find out what is a specific character that is available at location number 2. Here you can see that in location 0 I have P, in location 1 I have I, in location 2 I have G. If I am retrieving the value which is available at location 2, then I will get my value as G. So you can easily write a program with the help of all these notations and all these features that are available with text writables. Next coming for the other advantage, that is int writable. So in here we are going to discuss something new which is int writable. So I hope everybody is having a clear idea about your text writables. Now we are going to see something which is int writable. See, you have created a string and we have found out respective code which is a Unicode for that string for defining it in the programming. So we have int writable right now available. With this example you can see you can set the value which is your integer value. So I have taken a writable which is int writable and I am allowing it to store a value which is 163, that is integer type, into it. So in this example you can see that where earlier you used to store string values, now you can set a new value with set function. Here you are going to store something with int writables, you are storing integer value, you can also set that one with a new number. So next one is byte writable. So it is very easy to understand, but try to put some information on it. See, the size is 4 bytes. The next example would be byte writable. The size given for it is 4 bytes, where if you want to store a value, you are allocating 4 bytes for that. So I have numbers 3 and number 5. How I am going to define that? So let's see, you are going to store it in this way, where I have already defined with value 2. So that is already available, and if you are going to add those 2 values at the end of the specific format. So this is already defined one which is a size of 4. So you are going to add 3 and 5 at the later part. So this is how you are going to share with byte writables. So you have an array of binary data, but the size is of 4 bytes. This you must understand. So 4 bytes of data is allocated to store the things. So for example, if I allocate 2 for this, I have allocated the remaining 2 for this, which means this 3 when you convert that into a byte form, then again falls in the same structure. So this is how you are going to represent the byte form of data with byte writables. See, I have given a small code snippet to make it more understandable. See, I am taking a byte writable which is B, and I am defining it with 3 and 5, which is array that I have defined earlier, array of binary data. And now if you are serializing it, the value will be serialized. I have told you this topic earlier. Serialization is something, conversion of your information or your data into byte forms, byte streams, because it has to be transmitted over the network. So I am serializing the data, and those bytes will be stored here, and you are going to add the respective byte form of the data into the transmission. So the last part of today's lecture, that is null writable. So what exactly a null writable is? Why a null writable is required? So let's understand with basic terms. First one, it is a special kind of writables, but you can see that which is of size 0 length. So this is a writable that has been defined of size 0 length. I have integer writable. I said that I have 136 is a number, integer number that I have stored. I have to serialize that one. I have to convert that 136 into a byte form before transmission. Now I have byte writable, where I am converting everything into byte form to transmit. I have text writable. I am converting my own strings or words into byte form to transmit into the network. But here you can see something called as a null writable. Means a writable type is available with a value null. That means there is no data existing which is having a 0 length, and you are not even allowed to convert it into byte form. That means you are not going to perform any kind of serialization operation also. So you are not going to create any kind of streams to transmit into the network. You are not going to create any kind of information to transmit over the systems, but it is just a kind of a placeholder. You are going to use this as a placeholder. Now third, we can see most of the times when you are comparing the case with MapReduce example, here you can use null writables to differentiate them. And the most importantly, when you have a sequence of files available, there is a lot of data that has been defined here, sequence of file structures or data that is available over there, then you can use for the differentiation of key value pairs, you can go with this null writable. So most of the cases, as you can see, you can get or set the values with get function as well as set function, but here in the null writable function, you are going to use it as a benchmark where you can differentiate the data or differentiate the keys. So that's a major advantage of your null writable. So we have clearly seen what exactly a writable class is. We have clearly seen what are all the different types of writables that are available, like byte writables, text writables. We have seen the key features of text writables, and we have seen what is exactly a null writable is and what actually the usage of null writable in the programming. Even though it is carrying 0 data, why it is being used. So you need to understand the difference of a normal writable classes and how it is being converted in the form of serialization to transmit it over the network. So I hope you have a clear idea about all the writable classes that are available. So each and every time when you are learning it, you try to compare it with the earlier writable classes which you have gone through. So see you all in the next class. Thank you.